This is the CVF Titan V2 intercooler in silver, and it's available for all 2015 and newer 2.7 and 3.5 liter EcoBoost powered trucks, including your Power Boost. Now, the Titan V2 will be a relatively affordable option for owners who are looking to keep those charge temperatures down and performance up by going with one of the largest options available to fit in the factory location. Now, this particular option will combine the aluminum construction with this silver or gray finish, all for right around that $800 price point. So big features here will be the big time upgrade in cooling capacity by ditching that cheap factory intercooler and their plastic end tanks and replacing it with an all aluminum TIG welded option, all while keeping things located in the stock location. Now, for starters, guys, the CVF Titan V2 is going to offer an 82% greater core volume when compared to the factory intercooler. Now, that increase in capacity and cooling capabilities will lead to charge temperature reductions of nearly 40 degrees, which is huge. Lower charge temperatures mean less power drop off and more power overall, and that is also going to equate to more consistent performance, especially if you live in a warmer area. This is also very important if you do a lot of towing or performance driving overall. You get that one strong pull, especially those performance guys out there. And then you'll notice with the EcoBoost trucks, especially with my Raptor, with the stock intercooler, the performance would really nosedive after that thing got heat soaked. Once I replaced the intercooler, power remained consistent, basically pull after pull. Now, again, if you live in a warmer area, replacing an intercooler, and you should definitely be at the top of your short list on your rig. And in addition to that, will again lead to more consistent performance. Moving into construction here with the CVF, and there is a lot to like in this department as well, starting with those materials. Again, you are looking at a 100% aluminum build here, including the bar and plate core, along with your TIG welded end tanks. Now, speaking of the core, it is going to measure in at roughly 21 inches long, 9.4 inches high, and just over 5 inches thick. Look at that bad boy right there, which absolutely dwarfs the stocker, by the way, in regards to basically every single measurable. Now, this particular option is finished in kind of the silvery gray color, but you can grab it in a slightly more stealthy black if you'd prefer. Now, another thing I really dig here about the CVF is that they have included a condensation drain with the V2, which is going to be huge with the EcoBoost platform, as condensation in the intercooler system has been known to cause problems for years and can lead to a host of issues, including misfires. Last but not least, the CVF will also fit in that factory location and will get backed by a limited lifetime warranty in case of any issues. Price point for the CVF intercooler here will land around $800, give or take a bit here, making this one of the more affordable options on the site for your EcoBoost powered ride at home. But now we want to shift gears and talk about the install, and the site's going to call this a strong 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, taking you at least 30 minutes or more to complete from start to finish. Now, a couple things to note here, guys. The active grille shutter system will need to be removed, but will not affect performance in any way, nor will it throw a check engine light. Now, on top of that, guys, the CVF option will not require the use of any custom or can tuning. You can bolt this guy up and go and enjoy all of the benefits right out of the box. But now, to give you a better idea of how things might go down at home, check out our detailed walkthrough and tool breakdown.
Tools required for this install include an impact gun, an electric, and a couple different size hand ratchets, a clip remover tool, 21mm ratcheting wrench, flathead screwdriver, an extension, a swivel adapter, a T20 torque socket, 7, 8, 10, 15, and 21mm socket.
What's up, guys? Today we're installing an intercooler on our F-150, so let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is hop underneath the truck. We have 2 hose clamps that we're going to have to undo, as well as 2 fittings on the driver's side that we're going to have to undo. So now, starting on the passenger side, we're going to come over to these 2 blue couplers. I'm going to disconnect the clamp on the pipe side. So take a 7mm socket and loosen up those clamps. And then we can work on separating our couplers from the pipes. and now we'll hop over to the driver's side. So now over on the driver's side, I'm gonna start on our bigger pipe here. We have this clip that we're gonna have to pry outward, and then we can slip this off. So grab a flathead screwdriver and pop that clip out of place. Once you have that released, you can pull it back and pop it off. And then we'll move up to our top fitting. You're gonna rotate this a quarter turn and slide it right off. Now, one last thing we need to do before we can remove this is disconnect the connector on our recirc valve. So just press in on the tab and slide that off. So now I've grabbed myself a buddy. We're gonna remove this bottom tray that's holding in our intercooler. We've got two 15mm bolts. I'm gonna take a 15mm socket to remove this, and I'm just gonna get a hand up here supporting it once I remove the bolt. And now with that bracket removed, we're gonna wiggle our intercooler out of place. And now we just have a clip holding on that wire harness that we can get a clip remover tool in there to disconnect. I'll show you exactly where that is once we get it out. So that push clip was right in here. You just need to pop that out with a clip remover tool, and then the whole thing will come down. Next, we have to remove our shutter assembly. To do this, it's gonna be easiest just to take the bumper off. It's a little bit of an extra step, but it's not that hard. First, we're gonna go above the passenger side frame rail and disconnect our connector. So you have to push in on this black tab and then pull up on the handle and then pull your plug apart. And then we have 321mm nuts on each frame horn that we're gonna take a 21mm socket to remove. Now we're gonna have to move our connector out of the way, and that'll show us our first nut. There's one on the inside of the frame horn, and then there's two on the outside. So take a 21mm socket. I'm using a swivel adapter just to give me more access, and pull that nut off. And now we'll go on the other side of our frame rail. It's gonna be hard to see these two. There's not really a great angle of them. I'm gonna move this connector out of the way, and then take that same 21mm socket to remove these. And then do that same thing on the other side. Next, we can disconnect the connector on our shutter assembly. So now we're ready to remove our bumper. I've got my buddy to help me pull it off. Our big main connector and the connector going to our shutter assembly need to be maneuvered around to get them out. And then we have one more connector that's running across here. I'm gonna disconnect that and detach all of the clips that are holding it in. So you drop it down a little bit. Get your clip remover tool in there to pop these clips out. Pop that connector out and remove your bumper. So now with our bumper removed, we can remove our shutter assembly. We have a bolt here on both sides, as well as a bolt up top on both sides. The ones up top are gonna be pretty much impossible to get a camera angle on, but they're right here and right here. On this side, we have that harness for our recirc valve. We have a couple clips that we gotta pop off, and then this whole harness will come out. So grab an 8mm socket, and we'll remove those 4 bolts. Now I'm switching to a 1/4" ratchet with a shallow 8mm socket to get the ones up top, because we don't have a ton of room here. So now we just have to remove everything from our stock intercooler that we're transferring over to our new one. We need to get these two couplers off. We've got our rubber grommets that go into our mounting holes on the top and the bottom of the intercooler, as well as our recirc valve. So I'm gonna start out with a 7mm socket to loosen up these two clamps to remove the couplers. Now grab a 7mm socket for these clamps. And then you can just work those off. Now for a recirc valve, we just have this one bolt right here. You don't need to touch anything up here. That's gonna be an 8mm. So I'll switch to an 8mm socket and pull that out. And then we're gonna rotate this a quarter turn to pop that out. And now we just need to get all of our rubber grommets off. So you can just twist those around and work them off. And then I'll rotate this around and get the ones on the bottom as well. So now we can start assembling our new intercooler. We need to mount up everything that we just removed from our old one. So I'm gonna start with the recirc valve here. We do have a new bolt that's gonna be going into that. This is a machine thread for this one. Our old one went into plastic, so it was more of a self-tapping style, so we can't reuse it. So start with it angled out and away, and then turn it to the right. So now take that bolt in a 10mm socket, rotate this until your bolt hole lines up, and then start threading it in. Now once you have your thread started, take your 10mm socket and tighten that down. Next we can reinstall our couplers. Slide those on until they bottom out against that first bulge. And then take your 7mm socket and tighten those down. And then we can reinstall all of our grommets. Just go ahead and slide those onto the posts. And then we can rotate this around and get the ones on the bottom. Now the last thing we're going to do before we get this onto the truck is attach our support brace that's going to go on the bottom of the intercooler. So just raise this up onto your grommets and press that into place. So now I've got my buddy to help me lift this up into place, as this intercooler is a good bit heavier than the stock one. Now I'm gonna get this pipe over our inlet here just to get started, because that's gonna be the hardest one to get in once this is bolted up. And then just thread those bolts in. Make sure that your rubber grommets are in the upper mounts as well. And now take your 15mm socket and tighten down those two bolts. So now we can start connecting up all of our pipes, starting on the driver's side. We're gonna get our big one first. So just push that on until it clicks into place. Just like that. Give it a tug, make sure it's not going anywhere. And then come up top to our recirc valve. You're gonna twist this gray fitting, press it on, make sure it twists back, give it a tug, make sure that's not going anywhere. Now we'll go over to our couplers and get our pipes slid into them. And then once those are slid into place, rotate your clamps to make them accessible. And then take a 7mm socket to snug up those clamps. Next, we need to pull a couple things off of our shutter assembly. This is no longer gonna fit with the thicker intercooler that we have. So the first thing I'm gonna do is remove our motor here. we're gonna have to have this plugged in to avoid a check engine light. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna plug it in, I'm gonna put it into a good spot in the bumper and zip tie it up out of the way so it's not dangling around anywhere. So grab a T20 Torx socket. We have these 2 screws that we need to remove. And now you can just slide that right off. And then we're gonna rotate this around to our harness that's gonna go over to our recirc valve. So just grab a clip remover tool and get under those clips and pop them out. So now we're gonna slide the harness for our recirc valve into place. So I'm gonna get to the right side of the intercooler bracket here and kind of feed that in towards our recirc valve. And then I'm gonna run the other connector across the top. We're gonna tuck it over the bracket once we have that connected to the bumper harness. But now we're gonna go underneath and connect the connector to our recirc valve. So now just go underneath, find your connector and plug this into that recirc valve. So now we're ready to reinstall our front bumper. I've got myself a buddy to help me do this. The first thing I'm going to do is connect this crossover connector that's going over to our recirc valve. And then as we're lifting this up, I'm just going to tuck this above that intercooler bracket to keep it out of the way of everything. You're going to have to fish in your main connector above your frame rail here, as well as the connector for your shutter assembly. We're going to be putting that motor back in and just putting it out of the way so that it's not dangling. Now we can reinstall the 3 nuts on our frame horn. Now the inner one I'm doing from through the grill of the bumper, because with this intercooler here, it's blocking a lot of our access to get in there with the tool. So I'm gonna thread that in and then get a 21mm ratcheting wrench on that nut to tighten it down. Now I'm fighting with this lip of the frame horn a little bit, so I'm just gonna switch to a 21mm socket on a ratchet. So now on the other side of the frame horn, we can thread on our other 2 nuts. Just like the other side, this might be a little hard to see. I'm probably blocking a good bit of it with my hands in there. Just thread those on. These you still have access to get a 21mm socket with a swivel adapter in there to tighten those down, and then you can do the same thing with the 3 nuts on the other side. Now we can reconnect our main connector for the bumper. Push it in and then pull that gray locking tab down. And then I'm gonna reach up in there and grab the connector for our shutter assembly. And then we can connect that motor. So I've got my motor here. I'm just gonna plug in that connector. And that's just gonna sit on the top of the frame rail with the main connector. So that'll wrap up this review and install of the CVF Titan V2 intercooler in silver for your 2015 and newer 2.7 liter and 3.5 liter EcoBoost F-150 and 21 and newer 3.5 liter Power Boost F-150. Thank you for watching, and for all things F-150, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.